Okay, fam. Welcome to another episode of Mike's Town Square. I wrote a proposal. It's like a business policy proposal I wrote, and I don't know if anybody's gonna want to listen, but in the government that is. But we have to keep talking and hoping to help the government, even if we are not directly aligned with them. So I call this. It was an episode I talked about in my second show. It was about waste management, but it was in audio, so I wanted to do it in video. Between then and now, I now wrote a proposal in case somebody decides to go back and watch it or listen to it rather. So I scripted it, so I'm going to just go through the script. If you want to steal it. As long as it works. If it doesn't work too, or you can touch it up, but it's something worth doing because the success of any government is a pride to its people. So I did this in this July. Did it early July. I think it was on the 7th. I wrote it out. It took me 2 days to figure it out. So I call it Revamping Waste Management System in Delta State, Nigeria. I wrote it on the 6th of July. So in summary, I'll just read it out because I said it's scripted. So it's just something. Bear with me and be patient. I'll just run through it so that if you have a comment or you want to have something to add to it, all we are looking for is how to make our state great. So, in summary, I just go through the proposal as it were. Delta State faces a critical management crisis, reflecting a broader national problem. With an estimated 7.8 million residents and 2.2 million urban dwellers, the state urban centers, including Asaba, Saple, Warri, and Oele, are overwhelmed with solid waste due to outdated structures, policies, inefficiencies, and poor public management and engagement. So this proposal, the idea is it outlines a public-private strategy that leverages policy reforms, data-backed infrastructures, investment, and citizen engagement to achieve what? Cleaner cities, increased job creation, improve public health, and sustainable internally generated revenue. So let's look at the problem from how I outlined it. So Nigeria, in general, produces about 32 million tons of solid waste annually, with only 30% properly managed. Delta now mirrors this because that's how it works. Delta mirrors this problem though with open dump sites, plastic pollution in water bodies, uncollected waste in residential and commercial areas. Now, the key causes in Delta State are this: lack of what? Waste infrastructures, inadequate trucks and recycling centers, and probably bins. Policy fragmentation, overlapping mandates among agencies, and weak enforcement. Then low public awareness is the third one. No formal waste sorting or educational programs where they tell people how to sort waste in the correct other solid waste, biodegradable, and all that. Then urban pressure is another one because of the rapid growth in these urban cities. Then the one that kills us the most is the corruption, misuse of allocated funds, which I'll get to at some point. Then there's also another one, unrelegated informal sector. The sector is just everybody's doing what they like. No safety or operational standard. There's no standard in how we manage the waste. Everybody's just doing what they like. Okay, so proposed policy response. This is where we get into the nitty gritty of how I think it should work, which is where I said if you have your own idea, you want to impute. Number one, I said the response infrastructure investment. Phase one, core equipment acquisition, the core equipments you need. It's all theory. 20 garbage compactors at 40 million. That gives us 800 million, right? You might do support vehicles and miscellaneous and bins for another 100 million, right? Now, manpower. We don't have to use the Ministry of Environment staff if you feel they are already overwhelmed. I don't know what they are doing exactly, but let's assume they're overwhelmed. Let's now say you now employ 200 junior staff at 100,000 a month. This is why I talked about job creation in this same matter. So the junior staff, the ones who pick in, the drivers, the helpers, the sweepers, the gatherers of the waste from the bins in the allocated homes. Now you have another 50 that you employ again, which are the senior staff, the engineers, the HSC professionals, the accountants, the economists. They all work in this special sector that is supposed to spend this money but generate fund so that it's efficient and it's professional. So you say monthly, if you add them, the 200 junior staff, 100,000 gives you 20 million. The 50 staff at 300,000 gives you 50 million, which will now give us 35 million. You now say, now your budget now to start up with your staff and your miscellaneous and your equipment you've gathered is 935 million. Now we're there. Now, phase two, waste collection revenue strategy, right? The Delta State urban population, approximately of 2.2 million people, translates from my calculation into 1.6 million households. Now, a user fee of 2,500 per household would generate what? 4 billion monthly, instantly. You have 1.6 billion households who are paying 2,500. It could be more. We're just using a standard workforce figure because the workforce in Delta State is 1.5, 1.6 million, plus minus. I'm thinking it's more of plus than minus. Now, even after monthly cost of 935 million, Delta State will still realize if you minus the 935 that you spend, you still have over 3 billion. Enough to reinvest in maybe say expanded coverage of the localities you want to go to, recycling parks if you can have the wisdom to engage in that, in the environmental education to schools and companies and even our law enforcement to help manage that people do things properly so they don't throw bottles everywhere from their cars and all that. Then you give another thing that they call performance based staff incentives to make sure the staff take the job seriously. That is for the second part of the policy. The third part is actually the policy and legislative reforms. This is where the government comes in, either by they empower the Department of Waste Management to unify rules across local government and states. In the case the sector isn't operational, like in Delta, it's not operational, but we know it's not operational. So the government will now empower the waste management department to unify all the sectors that are not actually doing their work to now collaborate with this new effort. Introduce now and enforce a waste separation law at the household and commercial levels. This is where the governor comes in with the state legislation. Then mandate all these what they call them waste contractors for housing estate, markets, and malls. You cannot involve the markets. I didn't include the markets and these people in the what I did in the household. So if you add those numbers too, you're looking at extra money. But let's use the basic households who I think probably should be able to afford 2,500 because I'm looking at the working class. Now, then you mandate them and the environmental impact agency. I think there's an agency like that within. They can collaborate with these waste contractors and do that. Now you ban open air dumping with fines and mobile enforcement teams. Those ones should be anybody who goes and dumps stuff to make sure that people don't flout the rule. The fourth one is public-private partnerships opportunities. Encourage investment in plastic and organic recycling. I think we need Chinese. So they have seen a few companies, the Chinese companies that know how to manage it properly. I don't know if the Europeans that are doing it in Nigeria. You get them involved, bring them to your state. That's another place that you can generate funds. I am not adding that in this context from my calculation, but I know I didn't add them. I didn't add the financial they will bring in. I know they will bring in more financial help, but this is a plan based on the proposal. Then you do green job training, another part of creating jobs and opportunities for young people. Then if you can do digital billing, I don't know, reporting and collection tracking, because you need to make sure that everybody is doing the same thing based on the numbers you have that are supposed to pay these funds to generate these funds, to finance it and to keep the state clean. So I think the fifth one is capacity building now. Launch a Clean Delta campaign targeting schools, markets, outline platforms. Introduce a school-based recycling competition, offer community grants for local sanitation initiatives, partner with Nollywood and Delta influencers for advocacy so that people can follow the rules and make sure it's effective. The state becomes clean, and the government generates funds that they can now reinvest in other areas that lack funding, hoping to see the good thing that the Commissioner of Environment has done, and now it will initiate other commissioners to come up with ideas that can also help generate funds for the state. Now, how can they do this? I am aware that the allocated fund for environment is 2.1 billion. Already allocated as at last year, right? I think so. 2.1 billion state allocated allocation. You spend under 1 billion, 935. Now the potential monetary revenue is 4 billion for user fees. The first month is the only month that you will spend close to 1 billion from what I did. Now the rest of the 11 months, you're making 4 billion, 4 billion straight. Give and take, spend 100 million there, 200 million there, which I won't get into. And you have a good figure. So now, budget and funding now, you have the budget to fund it. You're going to regenerate 4 billion. Private sector capital can actually give you 1 to 2 billion every year. I don't know how the recycling system, how they come in, or 1 billion, even if it's 1 billion a year, it's still some good money for the state. Then they can seek international support if they want to. But it's all on them. But we're just looking at the way the proposal I stated is how I think it should be done. Now, then monitoring and evaluation. Public, this one is easy. The public dashboard can be launched to track number of tons collected, revenue generated versus target, job creation, complaint and resolve policy, and all that. Then a way of checking the quarterly scorecards will be published and presented to the State Executive Council. And you have a working system. And the state is clean. And you have generated funds. And you have yearly, the next year you have 40 billion from environment to play with. So whatever the federal government gives you, you already made money by yourself. Isn't that worth doing? Isn't that a risk worth taking? So instead of playing with 2.1 billion for the year, you will now be playing with 40 billion by the year. But you just have to encourage your commissioner to invest 1 billion and do this, and get some professional to assist you to do this. This is what we're talking about. How is it not doable? It is doable. So in conclusion for me, because we need to start using our head, it is not so hard. You try, eventually you get it right. I forgot the commissioner's name again. He needs to go to his boss and say, give me a chance, invest this, I'll get a team, we'll get this to work. And you start generating funds. There's so many ways out there. If you saw the pictures I added when I was talking, all along the roads, with some people, myself, I pay every week. I think I pay 1,000 or 1,500. In a month, I pay close to 6,000 to evacuate my waste. I don't even know where the people I give it to go and dump them. It's not my business, but all these things, probably, we don't know what they do. Because there's no serious system. The ones that work with us will come one week, the next 3 weeks you won't see them. You see in front of your house all your waste they are there for weeks, smelling in front of your house. So the government and the ministry need to do something and do it quickly. So in conclusion, in this matter, that Delta State has both human capital and revenue potential to become a model for modern waste management in Nigeria. What it needs now is political will and strategic execution. With the monthly revenue potential of 4 billion from waste collection and an existing budgetary support, the Ministry of Environment is uniquely positioned to transform urban sanitation, create thousands of jobs, lead Delta into a circular economy. Let's stop this route. It's unnecessary. We are being lazy. Let's clean Delta. Let's make this policy work. If you agree, we are waiting and we're hoping you hear this. I already have the graphics and the pie chart and all that I worked out. We'll see if they listen. Hopefully they will. So that's it for me. This policy, I have it in agriculture too. I just come up with these ideas and I think somebody should Hear me out. If it's not this government, hopefully the next one. But we're hopeful. So that's it from me, guys. I just wanted to do something a bit different, an economy and not talk cultures all the time. So I'll see you on the next one. And yes, today is Peter B's birthday. I wish him happy birthday. We are waiting to see what happens. So everybody have a great day. I'll see you on the next show. Bye bye.